In this video, you're gonna learn how you can handle pushy parents and high expectations from your parents as an athlete. Hey there, I'm Eli Strawman, a performance coach and the founder of SuccessStartsWithin.com. It's gonna be natural to wanna please your parents. You know, they're the ones who've spent their money on you, they spent their time on you and helping you reach your goals. And so of course you want them to think that you're enough. And so when you fall short of the demands that they place on you, it can honestly feel devastating for yourself. But in terms of athletic performance, it's not only when you fall short of their expectations that causes trouble. Simply feeling them from the beginning and feeling like they're pushing you too much can lead to lower output on the field or court for you. Now, here are a few of the main mental game challenges that you will face as an athlete due to high expectations you feel from your parents. One's gonna be the fear of failure. If you're worried about living up to your parents' expectations, what do mistakes mean? To put it simply, mistakes mean that you have failed. When you feel such high expectations from your parents, every play within a game is magnified. Therefore, it's easy to adopt the mental game challenge known as fear of failure. Now, fear of failure is quite straightforward. It means that you are afraid of making mistakes. Another mental game challenge is going to be performance anxiety. Due to the high expectations that you feel from your parents, you're going to live in a constant state of anxiety. This is because when you have pushy parents, you're going to worry a lot about what they're thinking, how they feel you played, and making sure that you don't mess up during a game. There's fear and worry there that you're not going to live up to their expectations. And then another challenge is a loss of joy. Now, I don't think that any parent is meaning to have you lose a love for the game, but when expectations go unmanaged and you feel like they are pushing you too much, what was once something that you enjoyed can quickly turn into something that you're dreading now. Just think about performance anxiety and the fear of failure. How much fun is it going to be to show up to the field or court full of fear and anxiety? How much fun do you think you're going to have if you're constantly worrying and wondering about what your parents are thinking of you and if they think that you played well? Very little fun, I'd imagine. The game is going to turn into a chore, something that you have to do to live up to the pressure that you feel and to live up to the expectations of your parents. So now, how can you work on managing these high expectations from your parents? Well, I'd imagine that there's not a single parent out there that wants anything but success for their child. And so knowing this, we need to realize and recognize that the expectations that you feel they've placed on you are put there with good intent. It's their way of helping you become the best that you can be. Now, that doesn't mean that you simultaneously won't be experiencing the negative and challenging byproducts that these high expectations can lead to. And so learning how to manage the pressure from your parents in a healthy way is crucial for your long-term success, along with your mental health as an athlete. By doing so, we can turn what was once something that was hurting you into something that can actually improve your game. So tip number one is to practice reframing. Right now, you see your parents' expectations as something negative. The comments they make after a game or a practice, they're taken as criticisms. But do they have to be? No. One of the toughest things about working through high expectations from your parents is the truth that it is your own reaction that is causing the problem. Of course, it'd be nice to not have them say those things. However, it's your interpretation of what they say that ultimately leads to the challenges that I talked about earlier. So the challenge of the fear of failure, the anxiety, and the loss of joy. Instead, what you can do is practice something known as reframing. This is going to come in two different ways. First, you want to reframe your overall belief towards your parents' expectations. They want you to be the best that you can be. Their expectations are their driving force, and they push you towards your goals, or even possibly the goals that they have for you because they want you to be the best. But either way, it is coming from a good place. Next, you want to work on reframing what they say on a day-to-day basis. I was working with a young athlete who was struggling with high expectations from her parents, and what I had her do was I had her practice reframing what they said to her each day in a more positive way. Now, this wasn't easy, but she tried, and as a result, she grew more comfortable with their feedback because she was beginning to learn how to kind of locate some positives in their words. Reframing involves changing the way that you interpret their expectations and the criticism that they give you and the feedback that they give you. And then tip two is to improve your self-talk. Your self-talk involves the thoughts you have and the way that you speak to yourself about yourself. When you have high expectations and you're dealing with pushy parents, a lot of times your self-talk is gonna look something like this. I've got to. I hope they didn't see that. I wonder what they're thinking. God, I played awful today. Mom and dad are gonna be pissed off at me. I'm such a disappointment. They were right. I'm not practicing enough. Do you see anything familiar? Self-talk impacts how you feel. And if you are speaking this way to yourself, it is only adding to the negative impact of your parents' high expectations. Instead, you want to work on altering the way that you are speaking to yourself and what kind of thoughts you have inside your head. Here's what more positive and productive self-talk can look like to help you manage the pressure that you're feeling from your parents. I've got this. I know they want me to succeed. I'm grateful that they care so much. I know that I can do this. I trust in my training. It's okay. It was one mistake. Learn from it, let it go, and to move on. Focus on myself. I can only control how I feel. Do you see how much different those are? To better manage the high expectations you feel placed upon you by your parents, you need to turn to the thoughts that are filling your head. And then another tip is you want to define your own success. When you feel those really heavy expectations placed on you by your parents, you are operating off of someone else's definition of success. Now, to be honest with you, that's not a power that you want to give away to anybody else. You and only you must determine each and every day whether or not you were successful that day. This doesn't even have anything to do with your stats or the outcome either. I know it can be a little confusing, so let me explain. Allowing stats, parents, coaches, or anyone else to deem you successful is dangerous when you already are struggling with managing external expectations. Having a good game statistically and having other people think highly of you is a byproduct of you doing all the things that lead to you being successful by those kinds of standards. But it doesn't happen by you worrying about that kind of outcome. To manage high expectations, you need to consistently see yourself succeed. So what you need to do is you want to set targets that define what that means for yourself. The best way to do this is through the use of performance objectives. These are key aspects that you want to focus on each and every day. But be careful. You want to make sure that they are completely, and I mean completely, within your control. That way, if you stick to those targets, the day was a success. It takes discipline, but that must now become your key indicator for determining your own success. Rather than looking outside of yourself to other people and to the expectations of other people and the expectations of your parents, if you focused on your targets, that determines if today was a success. And then the last tip is you want to remember why you play. Now, this is a really great way for managing high expectations from your parents, because when you remember why you played in the first place, this is something that is going to bring back that joy for you in the game. It's easy to let this true driving motivation kind of go away from your mind when you are dealing with such pushy parents and high expectations and pressure from your parents. Right now, it may even feel like you play to please your parents. If you were to strip away, all the expectations and the pressures that you feel, why would you want to keep playing? What is it that makes you want to go out there onto the field and court and train? Once you find your answer, that's what you need to ground yourself in. Let it be the thing that is leading you on within your game, rather than the need to please your parents and to meet their high expectations. Now, your parents may have high expectations for you, but to be honest, this is coming from a good place in their heart, a desire for you to become the best athlete that you can be and the best version of yourself. However, this can also hurt you and can lead to fear of failure, anxiety, the loss of the love for the game, and the feeling like you need to play perfectly. Now, as an athlete, when you're constantly faced with these expectations, the game can quickly turn from something that you enjoy into something that you dread. And so what you need to do is you need to learn to properly manage these expectations that you feel are placed on you by your parents. Now, you can use the 4 ways that I outlined in this video to begin strengthening your mind against the negative impact that high expectations have on your game and on your mindset as an athlete. Thank you for watching, and I wish you the best of success in all that you do.